April 20th, 1999, Littleton, Colorado. A day that changed America and its education system forever.
Yes, this is Sharon at Columbine High School. We have shots being fired. Okay. The guy is in a black trench coat. Jerry, there's one guy. They just shot somebody inside the cafeteria. I'm going to have to try and get out of here and call you back.
Got help on the way, ma'am.
Okay. Oh, God.
Stay in the line with me.
Oh, God. Kids, just stay down. Under the table, kids. Heads under the table.
On the morning of April 20th, 1999, a quiet suburban high school in Littleton, Colorado, became the center of one of the most tragic and defining moments in modern American history. The Columbine High School shooting shattered lives, sparking national debate and marking a turning point in how we talk about school safety, mental health, and violence. The two shooters, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, entered Columbine High School armed with multiple guns and homemade explosives. In less than an hour, they murdered 12 students and one teacher, and injured over 20 other students, leaving them with life-ruining injuries such as paralyzation and severe PTSD. At the time, it was the deadliest shooting that had ever taken place in America and was the first ever mass school shooting. Among the two shooters, Eric Harris was often seen as the more calculating and sinister shooter. According to journals Harris wrote obtained by the FBI, his writings revealed a disturbing obsession with power, control, and destruction. He wrote in detail about his desire to inflict as much pain as possible, expressing hatred for humanity and fantasizing about mass violence, killings, and murder. His writings weren't just angry thoughts. They were blueprints for terror, showing a chilling level of planning and intent that would later shape out one of the darkest days in American school history. Dylan Klebold's writings, on the other hand, painted a different picture, one marked more by despair, not hatred. His journals revealed deep feelings of depression and feelings of isolation. Dylan often wrote about his desire to end his own life, not to hurt others. The Federal Bureau came to the conclusion that Dylan was likely pulled into the attack and pressured by Harris. He was not out to kill for the thirst of violence, unlike Eric. This next clip you are about to see is the last ever documented recording, just 30 minutes before the shooters drove over to Columbine High School.
Hey, Mom. Gotta go. It's about a half an hour before our little judgment day. I just wanted to apologize to you guys for any crap this might instigate as far as the pigs or something. Just know I'm going to a better place. I didn't like life too much, and I know I'll be happy wherever the fuck I go. So, I'm gone. Goodbye. Reb?
The most alarming and unbelievable part of this entire project was how 1 year prior to the Columbine school shooting, in 1998, a family filed a complaint to Colorado law enforcement, with their claim being that Eric Harris had AOL chat rooms and websites where he would go on them to talk about how he wanted to commit murder, taught people how to make homemade bombs and weapons, and how he was going to execute a school shooting and take as many lives as he could. Law enforcement made a draft of a search warrant for Eric's house to search for weapons such as firearms, knives, and explosives, but it was never carried out, and something that would have been preventable and saved the lives of so many innocent children never happened. This next section is going to be an exact timeline, minute by minute, of the Columbine school shooting, along with real video footage of witnesses and images of the shooting.
I was under a table and people were getting shot all around me.
11:14 a.m., Harris and Klebold arrive at Columbine High School in separate vehicles. The original plan was to place bombs in the cafeteria set to detonate at 11:17 so that the entire school would leave through the exit to the parking lot, where everyone would eventually be shot dead. However, the bombs failed to explode, causing them to begin their spree throughout the school. At 11:19 a.m., Eric Harris opened fire 3 times, shooting Rachel Scott, who was sitting outside the school eating lunch with her friend Richard Castaldo, who was also shot 8 times, being left paraplegic for life. Rachel slowly bled out before Eric put his shotgun to the temple of her head and shot her one last time. At 11:22 a.m., Eric Harris shot and killed the youngest victim, Daniel Robrow, who was only a 15-year-old sophomore at the time. Eric shot him in the chest along the stairs leading to the west entrance. 11:24, William Sanders, a teacher at Columbine High School who was directing kids to safety and helping kids by sheltering them and locking them in classrooms, heroically died while trying to save students after both Dylan and Eric shot him in the back of the neck. Mr. Sanders survived for 3 hours in a science classroom before bleeding to death. Eric and Dylan entered the library at 11:26. The library is the most infamous and well-known part of the shooting at Columbine, as that's where the library massacre occurred with a total of 10 deaths. Horrific stories have been retold from inside the library by students who were able to escape, recalling that Eric and Dylan would do things such as say peekaboo and then shoot people repeatedly, would question people's faith and religion prior to their death and then kill them, and would pick on people for their race, weight, disabilities, and appearances before gunning them down. Isaiah Shawels was beat and tortured, being called a slave and the hard R, before Eric put his shotgun up to his chest at close range and shot, exploding his insides. Another story was Casey Burnell. Dylan Klebold asked her if she, quote, believed in God, where she then responded, "Of course I do." Klebold then asked, "Why?" followed by her saying, "Because that's how I was raised and what my parents taught me." The last words Dylan told her were, "Well, now you're going to go see him." He then smiled at her, took out his shotgun, and shot her at close range in the face, smearing her blood all over her best friend, Emily Wyant. The federal government were ordered by a Supreme Court judge to secretly store and never release 5 hours worth of videotapes labeled the basement tapes, with footage containing Eric and Dylan planning out their attack, how to shoot up schools, how to create weapons, and how to kill. The only piece of information that ever went public was the 30-second goodbye audio that was shown earlier. That video was leaked by an insider who had access to the tapes. The final subject I want everyone to understand is how significant Columbine was and how it affected our country so dangerously. Columbine is known and considered as the blueprint for the never-ending ripple effect of school shootings in America. Harris and Klebold were the first two to ever do it and have inspired shooters to replicate exactly what they did by leaving behind plannings, messages, journals, goodbye videos, and the idea of dressing up in costumes to commit murder. All of these things have been replicated in shootings like Parkland Hill, Uvalde, Sandy Hook, and Virginia Tech.